What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rebel Yankee Podcast, where it's God first, guts and guns. I'm your host, Jan Backus, and in the studio today, we have our frequent guest slash co-host, Ryan Resch.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Here I am again.
Here you are. Is this number 3 or number 4?
I think this is 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like being here.
Yeah.
The new studio is sick too.
I was about to say, what do you think of the new setup?
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's comfy,
That
cozy.
That Jesus piece looks so good on that wall.
Yep. They killed it.
Yeah.
The lighting.
This is like a professional studio.
This is sick.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you love it as well. All right, so the name of this episode is going to be Rich Toward God in a World of Evil.
It's the world we live in.
And on today's episode, the topics we're going to talk about is my first catechism class, working through some tough feelings, greed and possessions, the parable of the rich fool, where the word gospel actually comes from, which we talked about yesterday.
I did get a sneak preview of that.
Yeah. The 75 hard, which you just started up again, and then navigating through evil in the world.
Solid. Let's do it.
All right. As you know, we're going to handle our kingdom business first, and we're going to talk about how God is moving in our lives this week and how we're putting him first. You want to go first?
Yeah, it seems like a tradition now. I get to go first, so let's just stick with that, you know?
Let's do it. I love it.
Let's see. I'm putting him first. I'm doing a lot more praying right now, and it's been really good. Seeing some good movement on the prayers. You know, not all of them, not all the time, but that's not how it works. And
when you say movement, you just like have a needle, a prayer needle. That's like,
yeah, I guess so. In my head,
Okay.
You know, not a physical one, just a one in my imagination. I think.
that's cool.
You know, I've got a friend back east who's kind of been struggling with some addiction and just loneliness, I think. And he's been reaching out to me quite a bit. And I've been, you know, trying to talk like Jesus with him a little bit, but not make it too intense. I sent him the Jesus First book as well. That's
Nice.
kind of my thing that I do now.
I love that.
You know, I'm putting him first there too, you know, because I'm putting him in other people's hands.
Love that.
And he actually texted me a picture this morning because I texted him a little piece of scripture. It was something from the daily verse from the emails. And I sent that to him and he's like, man, doing good. I'm up here in Vermont and doing some riding, mountain bike riding. And he texted me a picture and he's like, I've been checking it out every day. And he had the book with him on his little getaway. So
Nice.
you know, and I feel like it's helping a lot. It's been helping me just connect with God by, you know, through praying for him and other people too. I met a really nice older woman at chapel on Friday at Ronnie's school at Flatirons.
Nice.
And we just started talking and we kind of were having some really nice conversation. And at one point during worship, she leaned over and told me that her sister was having a surgery, like right now.
Wow.
And she was like, you know, the song was obviously speaking to her. The song, I can't remember the name of the song, but it was something about like the battles or something like that. The battles within or something to that nature. The battles are his or I can't remember. I'll find out. It seemed like everybody knew it except for me. It's a popular song. So
Yeah. I know. I think I know which one you're talking about.
it's got like a in the verse, it's like kind of like a real kind of hard verse where it's like the words kind of happen real fast. So it was being new to that song, it was kind of like, all right, I couldn't find the rhythm of it. So I don't know if that helps you at all of figuring it out. It was a tricky one. Anyway, like, so when we were leaving after I asked her name, as we are kind of like getting ready to walk out of the auditorium. And then I asked her what her sister's name was.
Nice.
So that way I could
pray for
her.
Yeah.
So
love that.
That was great. I had some, we've been talking a lot and I've been feeling really stuck in my work thing. And just like, I have these ideas and plans and it just doesn't seem like, I just feel like I've been stuck in the mud. Tires are just been spinning and I'm not going anywhere. And it's really been beating me up. I've been praying a lot on that. I've been talking about that. I've been talking out loud about that. And I finally feel like some things kind of like, I got some traction this week.
Great.
And I didn't move forward maybe as much as I'd like, but it just felt like things were moving. So, God's answering my prayers and putting a lot of those out there. And I think, that those are really the two things that really stand out to me. But I also have been much less afraid to talk about God and talk about Jesus to other people that may or may not really be, totally open-minded yet, but that's not stopping me. So
I love that.
And he's doing that. And we give him all the glory, right?
To God be all the glory.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that, so you gave me a contact. Somebody was interested in class. Mm-hmm. We talked and we were getting ready to hang up. And he's like, by the way, how do you know Ryan? So I gave him the history of, Gordon and the pawn shop and you. And then I was like, but most recently we connected on a spiritual level. And he's like, really? That's very interesting. And then he's got a little bit of a story and, he's not there right now, but he feels like he wants to be, which was interesting. But he's such an intellectual too.
Very much so.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him if he starts chasing a little bit or not.
I interact with him fairly often, I'll just say on a regular basis. I mean, there's sometimes we'll kind of go, a little while before
he's a repeat customer.
Yeah. We'll say that for a long time too.
Right.
So, it might be, that'll be cool if he wants to, have that conversation. So, and I'd be very open to it. And, whenever he's ready, I'm looking forward to it.
I bet it comes up.
Yeah. That's cool. So, I didn't know that. And
he didn't know it either.
Yeah. It's it's a thing, man.
It's a movement, bro. I just feel like more and more people want God in their lives right now. And for obvious reasons, like we need him,
Yep. I mean, the title of the show.
That's right. You got anything else for your week?
As far as God plans, or just to add to the conversation?
To add how God's moving in your life.
Well, I mean, I told you that I texted you also a little bit earlier about how I kind of had this like epiphany moment this morning when I was on my run, because I've been really trying to just like understand how I give God all the glory and how I put him first. And it's not that I'm like choosing not to, I just haven't totally wrapped my head around the concept. And when I'm just doing average things in the day, I'm like, how, I think about it at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, like, how do I do it for God today? And, and not necessarily why, but the why kind of hit me this morning on the run. And it was something one of the parables that, is in, I think it's in all the Gospels where, basically Jesus is saying that like, hey, the birds don't worry about where they're going to get food today. Right. Like they don't worry about like, how am I going to eat? Right. They're birds. They know that God is going to provide them what they need.
Right.
And that was what it just like, I kind of connected the dots on that this morning. I was just running. And usually when I run, I kind of get myself in like a kind of praying headspace.
Right.
And I think about people and I think about what's going on in my life. I don't run with music. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No,
I run no headphones. I stopped doing that a while ago because I felt like I couldn't really focus on my breathing. And I noticed that a couple of times where my headphones died or I just didn't bring them that day, it was actually helpful. And now I just run exclusively
the quiet.
with
That's cool.
the quiet in my mind and the cars sometimes, but you know, you can't escape that.
I want to read the text you sent me. So you wrote, God provides us everything we need. That is why we work hard and love our neighbors and give him all the glory. I thought you got that from some devotional that I missed. I was like, oh, did I not read that? And like, did I miss some scripture today? You know? And that's from your heart, bro. And I just love that. God provides us everything we need. That is why we work hard and love our neighbors and give him all the glory. Amen. Nice job, bro.
Those words just rushed into my mind, and I didn't write them down at the time. I was like, oh, I got that. I got it locked in. And then I totally forgot about it. And when I went this morning to do one of my work tasks, which was visit a customer, like an on-site pickup for picking up some guns.
So they were there?
Yes, they were there,
That's
dude.
good.
I had a good feeling about it, but it definitely got me out of my comfort zone a little bit to do that because it's not something I normally do.
Sure.
I feel bad not putting it into context for everybody, but let's just try to stay on task here because, you know, I know we both got things to do later today, right? But so I showed up down there. We did our thing. I picked up the guns. We got all loaded up. We talked a bunch. We had half a cup of coffee first. Good guy. We've often talked a little bit about God, but not like real heavy duty. But with everything that's been going on this week, it's been a more front-facing topic of conversation with him. We were talking about Charlie Kirk and how he was telling me that after listening to Charlie Kirk's wife speak last night, which I haven't watched that yet.
Bro. I can't watch it without crying.
Yeah. I'm not really, I want to, but I also not necessarily looking forward to it, but I feel like I should hear what she had to say because it seems like it's really been, very moving for everybody. And I mean, we talked about that a little bit last night too, and I don't want to get too off track here. I know we're going to talk about this later, but he was like, I think I need to get back into Romans because he's like, I need to reread Romans. And I was like, man, I've never actually read it Romans front to back, but every time I've opened it, it's always just like been like a bam moment. Like, yeah, here it is. And we got to talking and, I had that conversation with him and the words came back to my head and that was as I was leaving. And as soon as I got in the truck, that's when I texted you that because I was like, I need to get this like out now because it's something I've been struggling with. And I also know that we've talked about it a lot. And I don't know that I really told you that I was struggling with that. Like, how do I do this sort of thing? But I wanted you to know that like something clicked for me. I love it. And
the great theologian, Ryan Resch.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the recognition and I'm glad that you appreciated it.
Yeah, man.
You know,
good stuff.
So yeah,
good stuff.
I think that's it, but he's moving, man. Like,
God is moving.
It is, it's been a week for sure. I love it. And I'm feeling as sad as I've been, you know, and as kind of distraught as I've been about the things that have happened this week, I also am feeling a little bit more peace, I think, in my life, which, you know, I'll take it. So
good for you. I like it.
What about you?
Yeah, man. Crazy week. I'm going to work backwards. Today, directly before I came here, I was at St. Luke, Orthodox Christian Church in Erie, Colorado, and I attended my first catechism class. This class is designed for anybody who is interested in the Orthodox Church, inquirers, people that just aren't even inquirers, they just wanted to come to the class could be there, catechumen, and it's all about learning about the Orthodox Church, you know, and the religion and the tradition of it. A lot of the stuff I have been learning on my own, but the thing that just blew me away. So one thing that I love about Orthodoxy is it is an ancient faith. I'm gonna read you just something real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you something that just blew my mind. So the Orthodox Church is the one church founded by Jesus Christ and his apostles, begun at the day of Pentecost with the descent of the Holy Spirit in AD 33, right? So this is a very old religion and very old church, right? Now, there's priests and there's bishops and there's these dudes called metropolitans, right? And we are under the metropolitan, I'll get all these names wrong. Let's see, Saba. A metropolitan Saba is in New York. But what's crazy is this is all apostolic succession. So the bishops, there's a lineage, and it's all from St. Peter or the Apostle Peter. The Apostle Peter was the first bishop, right? And every bishop since then is traced back to Peter. It's not like I could go start an Orthodox church and be like, we're here.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
No. This is let me read it in.
You have to be related.
Not by family, not by blood. So St. Luke is part of the Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese, and it does trace back to St. Peter the Apostle. Handed off. And the seat has been handed off
Okay.
for the last 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just blows my mind.
That's mind
St.
blowing.
Peter, the Apostle Peter is traditionally regarded as the first bishop of Antioch before going to Rome.
You know, I might sound, coming from a great theologian, but tell me about Pentecost. Give me like the quick, because I've heard the term several times, and I just haven't tried to dive into it to understand it yet, because it hasn't really been important in my journey yet, right?
Right. So
Till maybe right now.
In Acts 2, it's when the Holy Spirit descends to the apostles in Jerusalem. So it's a big thing.
And this is after the death of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely after the death of Jesus. And there's a bunch of baptisms, and it's
This is kind of like when the church, like when it all popped off, like when it became a real thing.
Exactly, when it became a church.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
So anyway, cool. I mean, I'm just all over the place. But the Metropolitan Saba shares the same apostolic heritage that goes back to St. Peter's episcopacy in Antioch. Uh-huh. Yeah, so yes, in the Orthodox belief, Metropolitan Saba is not just an administrator or leader. He is a bishop in the living sacramental succession from the Apostle Peter. It's
pretty deep.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's heavy duty.
I like it.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
I'm just falling more and more in love with this church. I stayed for this thing called Vespers, which is a Saturday night service, and I'm starting to settle down in there where I'm actually starting to feel like more of God's presence, and like I'm able to clear my mind and like absorb things a little bit more, which is really great because there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Other than that, going from a high to a little bit of a low, this week, for whoever doesn't know, this week in Colorado was pretty bad. There was an active shooter outside of Evergreen High School, and I think 2 or 3 kids were shot. I haven't really heard anything about them. The shooter ended up taking his own life. So there was that. At the same time that's going on, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then with that, like that's already heavy, and I have like feelings, and like I'm feeling like there's evil. But I take this call at JFW. A guy gets on the phone with me. He's like, "Are you the guy I need to talk to, for you to hear a community concern?" So I'm like, "Absolutely. That's, I'll take your complaint, And he starts telling me about what happened. And bro, he like turned like super evil on the phone and was saying things to the effect of, I've never wished ill will on anybody, but I hope your driver effing dies on his way home to his family tonight. And me and my friend should run basically his wife and like just got really like disgusting. And I'm sitting there like praying through this because I mean, he doesn't know me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, instead of doing all that, you can let me do my job. I'll pull some video. We got outward and inward facing videos. He's like, I want that video. But he had already mentioned he's going to contact his lawyer. I'm like, oh, well, your lawyer will need a subpoena of the video. I'm not just going to give it to you. Oh, so you're signing off on this POS. You're a POS just like him. If I was there, I would break your teeth in. And like now he's like coming at me all crazy, bro. And it's like, he's on the phone. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. Maybe he is that guy.
Yeah, maybe he is a badass.
But maybe he's not, because most badasses that I know, they don't
Act like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I started clapping back a little bit. Nothing really crazy. But he ended up hanging up. And bro, that just kind of sent me in a really weird place where I just felt like evil spirits are everywhere. And I actually went outside. It was kind of a cloudy afternoon, and like the clouds were like, I can almost see them like rolling really slowly. And I've been listening to like the Lord of the Spirit podcast, and I'm like starting to become more aware of like spirits, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I just felt like they were right there, bro, like the bad ones. It was really, really crazy. So next day I wake up, I'm sad, bro. I'm just sad that there's people with that much hate in their heart, because it brings me to a place too. Like, I stalked his phone number. I know where he lives. I know his last name. I know his wife's name. I'm like, bro, you're not like, I don't really think you're that dude, but you don't know, like, I'm not that dude. Like, this isn't a threat, especially on this podcast, but things could go south real quick.
Yeah. You want to have that information hey, this guy called with, you got to cover your CYA.
This is what I try to teach my students is, okay, you're willing to go here with maybe a curse word. Well, the guy you just cursed at, maybe he's willing to just push you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But maybe you being pushed, now you're willing to punch him. Well, maybe he's willing to step, like, how far are you willing to go? Mm-hmm. And this guy might think he's willing to go all the way, and maybe he is.
Yeah, maybe he's going to show up at the office or something.
Or maybe he's not, but he doesn't know, not me, but let's say he just goes around town. This is his MO. He may say the wrong thing to somebody and be like, oh, I'm willing to go further than that, Yeah. So anyway, I woke up feeling pretty sad. I don't know, did we talk that next day? I made some phone calls, and I'm just like, bro, I mean, have you ever heard me be sad? Ever?
No, not that I can recall.
Yeah,
really.
I'm not as sad. I don't get.
You roll with the punches.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I mean, I just have, God is just so great, and he's blessed me with so much. Like, it's easy for me to take situations and make them not really that sad. Yeah. But I was just overcome with sad. I talked to my sister. I talked to my mom. I actually talked to one of the brothers at work that was there, and it wasn't really, there was no closure, but I feel like just validating my feelings real quick, I was able to change gears, and that helped, definitely a lot of prayer. So yeah, that was crazy. I would say God's moving. God moved in my backyard last night. We had 6 men for fire night in my backyard. You sparked that idea.
I definitely pressed the issue a little bit.
Justin Bearden simultaneously from a different angle months ago, mentioned doing something like that. So it was cool. I invited 11 guys, 5 showed up, right?
Solid, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. But what was cool is, at first I was like, the 2 guys that kind of already knew each other were talking. You and Justin, I mean, I've been trying to link you 2 up for a while. We're talking, and then me and Bryson we're talking, and I got to know him a little bit, but it was like these little tiny, and then finally we got around the fire, bro, and it didn't take very long for God to show up, and we're talking about Bible scripture, and we're talking about, men's stuff. And I just felt like God was there, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that fire night served its purpose. Everything that was supposed to happen happened exactly the way it was supposed to. And I'm down to do it again. So
yeah, same here. I think the feeling's probably mutual across the board.
There was some good dudes there.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get 6 guys, invite 10 or 11 guys and get 6 every time, then that's 6 guys is solid, man, because you can have it's less burgers that you got to buy or pizza, and because I know that's next.
I think pizza will be next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooking takes you away from
cooking took me away from the party. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if we do burgers, we just grab them in a sack, and it's like, here's a sack of burgers. Grab one.
Wendy's.
Yeah. Whatever.
Or 5 Guys.
Yeah. Whatever's easy. But I think that was cool that Bryson showed up. I didn't know. I got kind of confused. He was my he was my yes, and then he said then he was a no, but I don't think he was actually a no. I think he was telling me that he has been attending another group at the Baptist church over there, like kind of close to your place, and that was that weekend. He was going to be missing that, and so he was excited to come. I don't know. It was a little bit confusing because he texted me. He's like, "You still going?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm still going." I was like, "Are you going?"
He was like the first one there.
Yeah. So
that was cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's the fellow that makes the salsa. He makes the bighorn. We partnered with him to put a bighorn label on the salsa. It's his salsa.
Right.
We just have a label on it because he's cool and he let us do that.
That is cool.
And solid dude. He's kind of been through a lot, and he's doing. I feel like he's kind of got a lot of stuff behind him now, which is great. And he seems like he's doing really well. He's lost quite a bit of weight since I've seen him last too. And he said he's just trying to focus more on just health and eating right and staying active. And he's a busy guy with running that whole salsa operation by himself. He's like basically 7 days a week doing that.
Sure.
So it can be real easy to fall into bad habits of eating junky food out or not getting to the gym. I mean, when I left your place last night, I got home, I had to shower. I had to read 10 pages for my 75 hard. I had to walk the dog, and then I still had to work out.
Yeah, bro. Before I knew it, it was like 11:20,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to bed. And
12:30.
I didn't even do the things I wanted to. But I was up this morning. And then other than that, man, just pray. I've been praying, and not to boast, but that's part of the Orthodox culture is to pray without ceasing. And man, I really do feel like it's affecting my life in a positive way. Also in the mornings, like I have a little prayer ritual, like a prayer rule I've been following, and there's certain prayers I say. I've been getting up 15 minutes early, so 4 a.m. is now 3:45. But I'm not any more tired than I was getting up at 4. So
yeah, I could see that.
But by the time I get to work, like I've already been with God all morning before I got there, because I pray on the way to work too. Like that's part of the thing for me. Yeah. So
cool.
It's been cool. All right. As a reminder, we are just a couple of dudes who love the Lord. We are not pastors. We are not teachers. We're not suggesting you follow us. Well, follow us on social media. We encourage you to We encourage you to open up your Bible and dig into these verses yourselves to see what they mean to you. Your sin isn't any sinnier than our sin, and we are talking to ourselves more than anyone else. We are not perfect. That's what I was going to say. Even if it was just you that showed up at the fire, I mean, I'm glad that everyone that was there, it was great. But even if it was you, we would have had a fire night, and I would have just set my phone up and we would have recorded this podcast. So
that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to maybe do that one time.
So this week is a little different. Ryan actually sent me these verses earlier last week. Earlier this week. Well, sometime earlier.
It's been like over the last 2 weeks, I think I've been.
There you go. So I did. Yeah, I felt like I got it last week. So
yeah.
Okay. We're going to go over the parable of the rich fool, which is Luke 12:13-21. Did you want to read the verse?
I can.
Let's go.
All right.
Can I?
Go ahead.
So Jesus is teaching about something that has nothing related to what this dude's about to ask him. Like he just flips the script on him real quick. So I just want to add that.
Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who made me judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully, and he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.'"
Have you ever thought about being a voiceover for a Bible app?
No,
Okay.
I haven't. But
You could.
all right,
Well, what?
there's a future for me
There you go.
outside of Bighorn.
Or simultaneously
Yeah,
alongside.
yeah.
Talk to me, man. What made you feel like this was a verse we should go over?
Well, I've just been, trying to figure out what it is that I'm like truly after, and I've had some conversations. We're also reading through Luke in church right now. It's part of the 35-day challenge we're doing as like an entire church body, which requires, it's funny, it's kind of like a 75 hard church edition.
Gotcha.
Where you're reading the Bible, you're praying, you are moving, you are sacrificing and serving.
Wow.
And so you're doing these five actions every day, just and making it intentional, right?
Sure.
And so we've been reading through Luke, and I feel like this theme just is pretty consistent there, and it's not really. This kind of goes back to, it ties into what I was thinking about earlier today too. I mean, God provides everything for you, and it's not about what you have; it's about what's in here, and that's just kind of stood out to me a lot about, how, Jesus confronted the religious leaders at the time, and this just really tied it into all that. Also, I was having a conversation with my friend Levi, and he was telling me about how he just came back from a work trip, and he's been living in the country in a pretty quiet place, disconnected, but his life for a very long time has been in this. He puts on these like massive events. He's an event planner. And so when he goes to work, he's just like in the city. He's surrounded by people asking him for things, and him being able to go into this more quiet place and then come back out of it and go into that. He was like, it was total culture shock for him. And he saw just the greed and the evil. And it was like, he's also reconnecting with God and being in the country and being mostly surrounded by his wife and animals. It's like he's not experiencing just like what's so, I don't, for lack of a better term or a nicer way of saying this, like what's so terrible about human nature,
Right.
How we can be, not what's so terrible about, but how we can be so terrible, and how people are so disconnected from God. And he kind of hit me with this, and we referred back to this, and then he came back at me with the Psalm, which we're gonna hit next. And it's not about the material things. Jesus doesn't care about that. God doesn't care about that. That stuff means nothing to him. It's how much you love your neighbor, how much you love God, and what's truly in your heart, right? And that'll lead us right into the psalm here. I know you have some commentary that you want to go over, and I'd like to hear kind of your thought on this too. But I think it's a lot of it is what's wrong with the world, and I'm trying to let go of that too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to have nice things, like I have dreams and I have wants, but, if you do good with what God provides you, he will give you more, right?
That's biblical.
And these are things that I see reoccurring in the scripture, that I'm reading or is being taught to me. I just keep kind of going back to that because I think that was my focus, was like, oh, I want to have everything I want to work hard. I want to get it all, and don't get me wrong. I want to take nice vacations in exotic places with my family. And like, I would like to have some cool toys that I don't currently have. But that stuff will come, man. If I can prove to God that I understand what's truly important, maybe I will be put in a position to be trusted with more, and I can experience those things too. But I need to experience God first, and I need to focus on how what I'm doing is giving back to Him.
I love it. What you're talking about, it reminds me of Todd Zielinski when he talked about the parable of the talents. And it's like you said, if you do good with what God's given you, He'll give you more. He'll trust you with more of His kingdom to do things with.
Right,
so,
right.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I love your commentary. My commentary is pulled out of other people's, places. So
it's okay. I was looking in here because there's the commentary at the bottom of these pages too, but I just I didn't have as much prep, but
yeah, you're speaking from the heart.
That was from the heart.
Yep. The Enduring Word talks about Jesus had just taught on our great value to God and on the importance of standing for Him. In the midst of this teaching, a man interrupted Jesus to ask that he take his side in a financial dispute. Like, have you ever met somebody like that?
Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah, all the time. But Jesus performs miracles, right? So, like, hey, this might be, in his mind, this was like an appropriate time to ask for a miracle, right?
I mean, it sounds very selfish to me.
It's very selfish.
Yeah. It'd be like, if you were selling a gun to a customer, and I'm not talking about like an M&P Shield. I'm talking about, a Q honey badger. And I walk in and I'm like, hey, Ryan, what do you think we should do on the podcast next week? You'd be like, bro, what's wrong with you? The ESV Study Bible points out, who made me a judge? Even though Jesus was Lord over the entire universe, He was careful not to become involved in matters that did not directly pertain to His earthly work and ministry, and He expected people to work out such things on their own. That was really good for me because sometimes drivers come to me with like this stuff that if they would just communicate to each other, I would never know about, like gossip and nonsense. And Jesus is just like, you don't need me to handle this. You should be able to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
ESV Study Bible, fool. When they say fool, the man who took such great care to prepare for his own earthly needs turned out to be a fool. Instead of fulfilling his moral responsibility to care for the needs of others, he was rebuked for laying up treasures for himself and not being rich toward God. Though the verse does not prohibit wealth, which is what you're talking about, like there's nothing wrong with being wealthy or there's nothing wrong with money. It's the love of money and making that an idol that there's a problem, right? Though the verse does not prohibit wealth, Jesus clearly warns of its dangerous implications: complacency, self-sufficiency, and covetousness, right? Yeah, I mean, it's I get it. Let's see. The Orthodox Study Bible talks about rabbis often arbitrated disputes, but an inheritance dispute is detrimental to salvation. Right? That's a big deal. Greed is idolatry, unfitting for the one who knows God. And St. Ambrose talks about the things that we cannot take with us are not ours. Only virtue will be our companion when we die. I
think that's my favorite commentary of all four of them.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. And then David Guzik, I'll finish with him. The rich man thought everything was my crops, my barns, my goods, my soul. But even his soul belonged to God. And one night, all of his accomplishments and plans were ruined, proving nothing was really his. Even at work, we don't use the I word very much because we're a team. You know, it's we.
Yeah.
You know, and when you start thinking that everything is your possession, none of it, like you were saying, none of it's ours.
Yeah. I notice every once in a while I'll catch myself saying that, and I'm like, oh no, it's we. It's Bighorn, right?
Sure.
It's Bighorn, not me or Marcus or any of the other guys.
Right.
It's a we thing. And I actually learned that in like a business book a long while back, but it was more of like their philosophy behind it was more about sounding bigger than you are by saying
right.
we, and not because it was like a team thing, you know, sounding like there's more of you there. So, you know, and which is the exact opposite of really how you should be perceiving that.
Yeah. When I write emails for Full Armor, I always put we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's you and all the students that have taken your classes, and
me, myself, and I.
And the company is an entity.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sounds more professional, right?
Yeah, it does.
Why don't you hit us with that Psalm 37:4?
Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think what probably most people think when you read that, you hear what you want to hear, which is like, hey, if I give God some love, he's going to give me what I want.
Right.
You know, and Levi brought this one up, and he had, and as he was saying it, I was like the light bulb went on, and I was like, I know exactly what he's about to say. And it's not, when you delight yourself in the Lord, he will put the desires, he will give you desires of your heart. He's going to put the desires there, the things that you should desire, the things that you need, not the wants, but like he's going to put the love in your heart. Right. And I was just like, it's so wild how you can read these words. It's like when you text, when you're in maybe like an argument with somebody and you text, that's a bad idea, right? Yeah. Because you can read, like, it just all depends on how you read the words, how you receive them.
Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah. Not how you read them, but how you receive them, right? Yeah. And when you actually receive this the way that it's meant, it's like, how would you not want that?
Right.
You know, like, how would you not want your heart to be filled with the desires of the Lord?
Sure.
You know, it's cool. I've like really hung on to that one. That was like, I was glad he said, I had to ask him again. I was like, which Psalm was that? And I typed it in my notes. I've got like a little note thing. It's called God. And I just, every once in a while when I'm like locked in on something or something hits me, I try to go in there and just punch it in there, put a date stamp on it.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, the study Bible talks exactly about what you said. When you delight yourself in your Lord, your heart will desire the right things. Boom.
Yeah.
And then David Guzik, replace worry and envy with conscious delight in the Lord. Cheer your heart and mind by considering and receiving his blessings by faith.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you picking those verses out.
Yeah, they just were ones that they just came to me. I didn't really pick them.
I did.
Yeah.
That's funny. Anything else on those verses, Ryan, before we move forward?
No, man. I definitely want to live more in this idea in Psalm 37:4.
Yeah.
And I feel it, man. It's like, God is changing my heart.
I'm a witness.
And
I'm a witness.
And he can change anybody's heart if you just let him in.
Yep.
That's the thing, and it's been the best thing. And I have zero regrets, and my mind and my heart can continue to open more. I texted Grace yesterday, and I went did a men's Bible study at Flatirons, and one of the guys, one of the lead pastors, Carl, he's like, I think he's just below Jesse, and he was like, I challenge you to go home, and tell your significant other that she's a gift from God. Don't just think it, like, tell her that. And I don't know, I thought to do it, and I wasn't there. And so I texted her, and there's obviously a lot that's been going on this week, and I realize how lucky I am now to have God in my life. And I texted her and I said, you're a gift from God, and thank you for leading me to Jesus. And her reply was, well, he was there waiting for you the whole time. And I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit like, corny, but it was all like just totally authentic from the heart, and it was real. And yeah, that was, it was a true thank you to her, because her and Ronnie really did chase Jesus first. And that's what opened my eyes. Right. And then I knew I needed it. So.
I'm glad you were the man, though, that decided to lead your family there, because there's other cases where the dad, he ain't going.
Yeah.
The mom and the kids are going to go, and the dad's not, or the dad's not around. So the fact that you saw them doing that and you didn't just let them have that, you know what I mean? And, whatever spark went off in your heart for you to sincerely chase Jesus and want that has turned you into the spiritual leader of your family. And to witness that, bro, like, it's been amazing.
Yeah. I didn't, I never really thought of it that way. And I knew I wasn't just doing it for me, but I never, really just put it into that perspective. I just don't necessarily give myself credit for things like that. Right. It was just, it was my duty. Well, it was also my duty, and I was ready to take the lead there. I did hear a statistic when we were doing some church stuff. We were at church, and they were talking about like how likely kids are will continue to follow Christ later in life. When both parents go, it was like, they're 60%, right, likely to continue to follow Christ. When just when the father goes, it was like 50% likely. Right. And if it's just the mother, they're like 15%.
Right.
Will continue to follow Christ, which is like, I was like, whoa, dude, that's that's a heavy responsibility, but one that I'm game for,
sure.
And that's why I'm just like, it's not the only reason, but I also know that I'm not missing unless we got something going on that,
sure.
and if we are missing on Sunday morning, I'm looking at Saturday night,
right.
Or any other chance we can get to go. Because it's important to me that they know that there's a better way, and they showed it to me first, but I'm gonna carry the torch now moving forward. So
somewhere during a week, I heard something on the Lord of the Spirit, and they were talking about the word gospel, right? And for the past 10 years, when I heard the word gospel, I always knew it meant the good news. Never needed to know anything more about the gospel except that it was the good news, right?
Sure. Yep.
In Christianity, it's the good news of Jesus Christ, his life, death, resurrection for the salvation of humanity. I got that. I understood that. That's the good news. Or the first 4 books in the New Testament are called the Gospels because it's all an account from 4 different authors, all inspired by God, of the good news, right? How he came, what he did, how he died, and that he died on the cross for our sins and was resurrected. Like, that's the good news. And my note says, but here's where it gets gangster, right? The word gospel existed long before Christianity. Like, it was around for a long time. In the Greco-Roman world, it was a battlefield term, and it was an announcement of a victory. So right away, I'm just like, wow, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I start picturing this. When a king or general won, a messenger like ran back and proclaimed the good news of the victory. It wasn't casual. It was survival news tied to freedom and the kingdom's continuation, right? I wish I know how to say the Greek word for the good news, you know? And then the early Christians, they flipped the word's meaning. Instead of Caesar's victories, they announced Jesus' victory over sin, death, and the devil. The gospel is not soft. It is a battlefield proclamation of the true king's victory. I could read that over and over and over again.
I'm going to need to read that over and over a few times
so
I
great.
can soak all that in. But yeah,
it makes sense.
It's
Yeah. What better news? There's no better news than his victory, right?
Well, yeah, we all won when he died for our sins.
Yeah.
That's
good stuff.
It's pretty cool, and I would have never really thought that was the true meaning of the word. But when you break it down like that, it makes really good sense, and it's one of those things that's like cool once you know it, right? Like,
bro, what's so cool is you learned it in year 1 where I learned it in year 15.
Yeah. So I'd be pretty grateful for that. Yeah, I'm going to know that for a long time. Yeah, I'm going to have that in the back of my head. I mean, how many times I'm going to bust it out, but bro, when you do,
you won't be able to hear the word gospel. Like I'll never
without thinking victory,
without thinking of Christ's victory instead of just the good news of what he did for us. It was a battlefield victory.
Yeah.
And we got to understand we're in the fight. We're in the fight to continue, right? The good news.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yep. We need some more victories. As we mentioned before, the Evergreen High School shooting and then Charlie Kirk's assassination this week, and Facebook, social media is a mess. I've had to check somebody on my page because I try not to get too political, but I said something and then somebody else said something and then he got attacked by somebody I barely even know, and it's like, hey, listen, man, like, if you don't know my friend, don't accuse him of his heart. Right. You know what I mean? But anyway, but a lot of people are asking, well, why does God allow bad things to happen? And that's a great question, and I'm sure Charlie Kirk's family is wondering that. I'm sure the Evergreen High School people are wondering that. Kids who may be new to their faith, they're kind of like, why, God? You know what I mean? And I almost feel like you could be in God's presence for a long time and still question when something terrible happens to you or your family.
I've heard a lot of like instances of people like completely giving up on God or Christ because of that happening. Just totally renouncing their faith when something terrible like this happens.
I got a buddy used to go to church. His wife got breast cancer and beat it, but he walked away from his faith because why did God give her cancer? And I'm looking at it like, bro, like she survived it. You know what I mean? Like she's still here,
Yeah.
you know? So.
And God didn't give her cancer. This world gave her cancer. Yeah.
So I feel like, did I get you a copy of this book of Timothy Keller? Right?
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
So right away I thought, let me tap into Timothy Keller, rest in peace, because he is was a modern day theologian. Like, he was so powerful. And I just kind of took 5 points from him. We're not going to get super deep into all of them, but Timothy Keller on why God allows suffering. Number one, we can't always see the full picture, right? Our perspective is limited, like a child not understanding a painful treatment, right? All the kid knows is it hurts. But the reality is it's going to make you better in a long time, and this is why we got to do it, right? Still hard to wrap your head around. God works through suffering. Suffering shapes us, deepens character, strips away false sources of identity, and draws us closer to Him. Okay. Christianity's unique resources. Unlike secularism and other religions, Christianity says God entered into suffering Himself through Jesus. I mean, there's proof of that in the Bible. Fully God, fully human, fully man. He felt that suffering.
What are the hypostatic union? Is that what they call that?
I don't know.
That
sounds pretty.
They talked about that in church.
I like that.
Here, I'm going to
pull it up.
Confirm that right now.
Okay.
Oops.
While you're looking at that, number 4, hope beyond suffering. Resurrection means evil and pain don't have the last word. You get it?
Resurrection means evil and pain don't have the last word. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
Did you find
it?
No.
No. I thought you meant, did I get that?
No.
Hold
pay
on.
attention, Ryan.
I'm trying to pay attention to 2 things at once now. The hypostatic union, 100% God, 100% man.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for teaching me.
I pay attention.
Yeah.
When I'm there, I'm like, if I'm not going to pay attention, why am I here? Right.
Right.
When you were talking earlier about the gospel, another thing that I found really cool, and this was during Easter, and I know I texted you about this too. Tetelestai is what Jesus said, his final words on the cross in Greek. And that was, it is finished. And like, when you start digging into that, and that right there, dude, that was like a moment where I was like, I don't want to say his name in vain, but I was like, whoa, man, oh my goodness. I was like, that right there.
How about praise God?
Says, yeah. That says everything. And I heard Jim say that, and I kind of like, I took it in, I received it, but then I didn't put it down. So I was like, I started Googling it, and then I was like, I'm not getting the answer I want. So I hit the AI, I hit chat, and I was like, give me some of this. And they were like, bam, here it is, just like that. And then I like kind of went into it, and I was like, I texted my cousin. He's like, dude, he's like, I love that so much. He's like, I've been fixated on, I mean, it was at Easter, so everyone's thinking about, Jesus dying on the cross and the resurrection. And he's like, I'm that's going to be my next tattoo. I was like, dude, I'll get that tattoo with you. I was like, that's so badass, And then a couple other like Hebrew words I picked up on, man, I'm gonna have to dig for this. And I want to say it's Rafa and it was, let me dig for this here, but let's continue on here. I want to get these words, but I was like, man, like those 2 words, words I'd never heard before, but understanding what they mean in English really like was like, this is more than I ever thought it was. Like, this is changing me more than I ever thought it would.
Right. When you learn the Aramaic or the Greek word, right? So Bible, was originally like an Aramaic, translated to Greek and Hebrew, and then you learn the word that they pick to describe something is just so much deeper than the English translation. You know, like there's different types of God's love. Like agape love is sacrificial, unconditional God's love. But there's other words in the Bible to describe love, which are different.
Right.
I mean,
right.
it's just wild to me.
Yeah.
The Bible is so juicy, bro.
Well, when you like that, and that's why it's nice to have somebody who's spent a lot of their life in the Bible and actually learning it and dissecting it, because they can like show you these things that would take you might not know ever in your entire life, right?
Unless you're that intellectual that knows Greek and Aramaic and Hebrew,
but
and you could look and be like,
but those things draw you closer to God.
Absolutely.
Like knowing the true meaning of these words and how there's multiple meanings or multiple words for the same thing, but they have different meaning. I mean, I feel like we kind of don't have that in the English language. I mean, maybe, and I'm just not connecting it because I'm just so used to it. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's words that have multiple meanings, but they're silly. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like biblical holy stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
Last point from Timothy Keller, number 5, on why God allows suffering. The cross as the key. We may not know why every pain happens, but the cross proves God's love and good purposes. So keep the faith.
I did. So I kind of cheated and I listened to the book on audio.
Oh, cool.
Because I was like, I don't think I have time to read the book right now.
Love it.
And I was like, so I'm going to listen to it on audio. But man, it was very heady stuff, man. Like I was like swimming in it. And also sometimes when I'm driving, like if I don't turn it way up to drown out my thoughts in my head, I sometimes don't even hear what I'm listening to.
That'll happen with music with me.
Yeah.
I'll have to hear a song like 10 times to hear it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the lyrics to this song? Oh, what was the what was the lyrics?
So my point being, I'm going to have to read the book. And then, now I also own it on audio, so I can revisit it that way too.
Yeah.
So
Such a
but
good
thank you
book,
for that.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, pass it along too after you're done with it. If you know somebody that needs to read it, like feel free to. I mean, bro, I know you just be buying books and sending them to people.
I like doing that.
Book for you, book for you, devotional for you.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, let's move on to Guts and Guns.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, I took a class a couple weeks back
Yes, you
with
did.
Will from Orion Training Group. It was hosted by Colton from Black Canyon Systems. It's like a local lifestyle brand here. Some of you guys may know Black Canyon Systems and Colton. Some of you guys may know Will from Orion Group, but super fortunate to be able to take that class. I realized how much I have to learn and how much practice I need to put in after taking that class. It was 2 days on the range in the heat, living in the flies, like the actual insects, the flies, rattlesnakes.
Woo.
What else?
Did you have your honey badger out there to take care of the rattlesnakes?
No, I didn't bring the honey badger. I brought my Mark 18, which I brought on the show, I think on episode 1.
Ah, it's badass.
Realized that thing is super heavy and probably not a gun that I will take for a training class like this again. I need to build like a really stripped down, lightweight, streamlined gun for a class like this, because you don't really need all that stuff on there.
Right.
You want to be working on your shooting, not trying to hold up this 10-pound gun. You want to really be focused on the techniques that you're being taught. So something to think about if you can afford to do that, or even before you take the class, maybe pull all the crap off your gun and just go shoot the class with what you need, which is an optic and a silencer.
I was going to say,
Yeah, because
for sure.
do your friends a favor.
Right.
I got to stand next to Kyle from Empire Gun Club, and he was running a pretty awesome break on his gun, which I'm sure was great for him, but just blowing my doors off. I mean, there was a time we were shooting rifle drills and I was like, I don't even know if I'm pulling the trigger right now because I'm just like eating the concussion off this guy's brake so hard. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm surprised you're not deaf and blind.
Well, I got offered to double up on the hearing protection, but I was like, I can't hear anything at that point. So we did work out a pretty good arrangement on like how him and I were going to shoot drills so that it wasn't like super distracting for me. But that was an awesome class. I learned a lot. I've got a lot to learn and a lot to practice. I won't say I have a lot to learn. Like I learned it. I need to practice it.
You have a lot to show your buddies.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So, and I mean, hopefully I can show it to you guys. Yeah. You know, everything we shot pistol with red dot. I struggle with that. We shot it what they call included, so taping over the front of the red dot, so that way you're forcing your eyes. The only way you're going to see the target is to force your eyes to the target, and you'll also see the dot on the gun with the tape in front of it. Just like when you're shooting with both eyes open, focused on the front sight, or focused on the target, right? Or the front sight, sorry. And you still see the target in the rear sight. Same concept, but with a red dot, you're only focusing on one thing, and it's the target. And then the dot is just interrupting your vision to the target. It allows you for super fast transitions, but really hard for me to do. I was shooting with a Trigicon RMR. Pretty small window on the thing. So I might upgrade to something with a bigger window until I get, you know, a better grasp on not looking at the dot, because and on the RMR, the screen is so small, you know, you bring the gun up like this, there it is. You bring the gun up and that much and the dot's off the screen.
I've noticed when I do my draw stroke because I got a Trigicon RMR, I almost got to have my gun pointed down just a little bit for me to pick that dot up.
Right.
If I just come straight out, like I got to have it pointed down and pick it, like, yeah.
So these techniques that Will taught were like, everything you are currently doing, stop doing it and do this instead. And it was like, I was swimming in it, man. Like halfway through the pistol stuff, I was just like, I was just in my head and it wasn't going well for me. I went home. He sent me some videos. I got home after a long day and spent an hour in the garage after my workout doing dry fire in the garage, and then woke up again at like 5 a.m. because we got rained out. And so we were starting an hour earlier on Sunday to finish up pistol, and then we stayed an hour late. So we were on the range on Sunday for like 10 and a half hours. Shot about 500-600 rounds of 9mm, 500-600 rounds of 223. Wow. Great class. I loved it. I would highly recommend if you ever got the opportunity. I know I extended the invite to you because there were some spots and it just wasn't going to work out with your schedule. And I know the tuition seemed a lot, but I was asked several times after the class, do you think it was worth what you spent? And I said, I would have spent more. I could have spent more and felt like it was worth it. Wow. So incredible instructor. The guy's, he's a top rated professional shooter in a few different classes or whatever. I don't know like a whole lot about the competition shooting world, but he's a pretty well-known guy and just a great teacher. So cool experience with a bunch of great dudes. It was some good networking too, because it was a lot of industry faces there. So I was really blessed to be a part of that. Found out at the end of the class too that Will was a man of faith, and I was kind of picking up on it throughout. He definitely covers it in like a lot of sarcasm and crude jokes and things. And I was like, wow, oh, you can be a man who really loves Jesus and still like just be a regular dude who makes fart jokes. We'll call them fart jokes, but you know, it was a good time, man. And it was like that was like the icing on the cake at the very end. He does a lot of work in that area also, in some ministry stuff. And I'm hopefully going to get some more information on that so I can kind of follow along there as well. And, I guess his, wife has a Christian, faith-based clothing brand too, that kind of I got tipped off to. So I kind of was putting it together, but
Sure.
at the very end, he kind of closed on that note, and I was like, dude, that's
so
super
great.
cool, man. So awesome experience. I would love to do it again.
Nice.
Want to roll into the 75 hard thing?
Yeah.
Or you want to give me a break from flapping my gums for a minute?
If you need a minute, yeah. Not a whole lot going on for me in the guts and guns area. I do need to change I need to get a new RMR, bro. Mine's all like scratched up. The screen is just, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I just
Stop looking at the dot and it won't matter.
Right. That's a good point.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've never put tape over mine. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, the painter's tape.
Okay.
So like
that blue
it'll,
tape?
Yeah, it'll let a little bit of light through.
Gotcha.
So it's not totally blacked out, but you can do it with electrical tape. You can do it with whatever. But his preference was he used a green painter's tape versus a blue. But I went home and did it with blue. I kind of got the same effect.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that out. But yeah, great point. Why spend another $500 if I'm not even gonna use it?
Yeah, you're looking at the dot right now.
Yeah.
That's if you're seeing the scratches on the glass, you're definitely looking at the dot.
Yeah.
So
Great point.
yeah.
My last class of the year, potentially, I'm trying to make October the 4th, which is a Saturday. After that, I go hunting, and then, it just gets cold out, and to have a group class after that, it's just hard because I teach outside, and honestly, there's some other areas I want to grow in, and, I shut it down every year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. I mean, you do it, enough to, help other people out and make time for them, but then you also got to have some time for yourself too. And it's appropriate. And it also jives with like how you have your class set up, with shooting outdoors. So it's like, it's hard to get a group of people together to go shoot outside when it's 25 degrees out. And
they got to be able to feel their fingers. That's my rule. Like if you can't feel your hands, we're not being safe on the range when it comes to trigger press. So, but I usually do get the one off or something like that. Like last year I had a class in November. Guy called me up. He had him and 5 of his family members. And I was like, well, we just got to get, and this was in November. I was like, we got to get a nice winter day, and it was like that Saturday. I was like, as a matter of fact, it's going to be like 50 degrees this Saturday. Can you go?
Yeah.
And 30 minutes later, he was like, yep. And boom.
yeah, we get those pretty regularly in Colorado.
Yep. But planning on the last one being on the 4th.
Okay.
And then as far as the gym goes, we're still super busy at work, and we are still super short-handed, and I've been jumping in trucks, and it's hard for me to get there during the week. I got one workout in this week on Wednesday, but I make it up on the weekends, There's no reason I can't do push-ups or do something at home. But
Burpees.
something, but yeah, I mean, everything's just so tight, but it's okay. I've gone through this before.
Yeah. Well, just stick to the diet, focus on nutrition as best you can.
Yeah.
As best you can.
Did you see somebody brought cookies over?
Yeah, that was Frank. That was like kind of a dirty joke, but everybody seemed to enjoy them. So,
and
were they crumble?
No, they weren't crumble, but they're still being enjoyed.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. You might want to bring those to work and leave them in the break room or something.
That's a good idea.
Then you're only limited to eating some at work.
They'll be gone the first day at work, but they were around for breakfast this morning. And I didn't feel bad about it.
Dude, somebody brought us donuts at work today. Nice. And I was like, they were fresh and they smelled so good. But I'm not doing that right now.
That's because you're strong.
I'm locked in.
You're doing the 75 hard.
Yes. Day 4 of 75. So long way to go here. So it can't be, I guess if you're going to blow it, now's the time to do it, because then you can just restart and you're only like wasting 4 days. So
there's, just to be clear, no leeway. You miss a day, you miss a workout, you miss a reading. If you miss
progress photo, which I'm uploading right now, you can't miss one of those. That's a requirement. So here,
what can you miss?
Nothing. Yeah. There's no half-assing. Yeah.
Right.
So
it's a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Every day.
No cheat meals. No alcohol. Follow a diet. Drink a gallon of water, which is why I have to pee really bad right now, by the way.
We're almost done.
Yeah, I know we're getting there. I'm doing good. And I also paid great attention to my water intake, my fluid intake coming here.
Yes.
So that way I didn't have to stop halfway through the podcast like last time. So 10 pages of reading in a nonfiction book of some sort, preferably like personal growth or business, professional growth. Also like reading like somebody else's success story. I think they're acceptable books for sure by the terms of the agreement you have with yourself when you decide to do 75 hard. There's no, you're not letting anybody else down. Like you're not doing this for anybody else. You're doing this. Well, let me take that back. You are doing it for other people because you're going to be a better person when you're done completing the 75 hard. You're going to learn a lot. Even if, let's say, you get to day 50 and you screw up, miss something, fall asleep while you're reading, get injured and have to stop or who knows what. But you're just stacking wins. You're linking wins up day after day after day. You're building good habits. You're not only building good habits, you're replacing bad habits with better habits, right?
Love it.
So 10 pages of reading, you know, like, so what I was getting at was reading books. One way, like, how do you learn in life, right? You either do it and make a mistake, or you learn from your mistakes, or you learn from other people's mistakes. And when you're talking about really successful people, sometimes we don't have access to them firsthand. So how do we have access to them? Read their book,
right?
You know, Tom Brady or somebody, you know, Michael Jordan or, what's the guy's name who's Jordan's trainer? Tim Grover. You know, he trained like Michael Jordan, personal, like physical trainer and like mind trainer as well too. Wow. I want to say he trained Kobe as well. All these like great mostly in the basketball space, but he's also a really good friend of Andy Frisella, who's the creator of the 75 hard. 10 pages of reading, progress picture, 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outdoors.
That's hard, man.
Every day for 75 days.
It's going to be cold when you're done.
I'll be like close right before Thanksgiving. I'll finish.
Oh, okay.
So I'll get some cold ones, man. But I'll tell you, I did the 75 hard. I've completed it twice already. This is my, hopefully this will be my third time completing it, but I've also attempted it 2 other times. Wow. So I've completed it. Did I say 3? 3 times. Attempted 2 others. And then I also, the first time I completed 75 hard, I ran the full Live Hard program off of that. And when I did that, I was doing phase 1 and phase 2 in the wintertime. And there was some days where I was out there in like full hunting gear with my snowboard goggles on and my hunting boots, walking through 3 feet of snow. And just 45 minutes. That's it. Oh, it definitely counts when you're walking through that snow like that. So it's just a matter of getting out there and doing it when it sucks. Highly recommended if anybody feels like they're just struggling, they're lost, and they don't have like, honestly, a purpose. I feel like this could really change that for you. You know, you got to be all in. It's a all or nothing sort of thing. You know, I mean, there are things that'll stop you from completing, but you know, any days you can string together are better than the days you're stringing together right now if you're not stringing them together. So it keeps you accountable to yourself. You can also, there's groups out there you can join. You can try to get a couple friends to do it. I've got had 3 other guys doing it with me. One guy already dropped off, but he's got kind of a lot of life stuff going on. It probably wasn't the right time for him.
Sure.
2 other guys are still in, and we're on day, what did I say, 4? I think we're day 4 right now, so it's pretty early in.
Did you recruit Justin? Is he going to do it?
He seemed pretty interested. I know he can do it. You know, I think he's kind of hard, like maybe a little bit hard on himself, man. He was like, he thinks he's in bad shape or something. I think, man, I'm like, even if you are in bad shape, you don't look it. And I think if that's the case, like you can get in real good shape real fast, right? You know, with a little bit of effort. So
Yeah.
It's hard though, man. Like people don't want to give up the comforts, that we have in life. And when you do this, you're definitely giving up a lot of comfort, man. And when you hit day 20 something, you're very uncomfortable.
Right. You're doing something hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. The most recent time I attempted was back spring of this year, and I got to day 42. And I was just like, I straight up, it's not that I missed something. I just straight up tapped out.
Not the time.
Yep. I did. But 42 days set me up, for summertime.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling like a little pudge ball this summer, which was good. I mean, I definitely packed on a few extra pounds of fluff here towards the end of it, but and I'm back in it right now. So I'm feeling pretty good at the moment, and there's gonna be lots of struggles along the way. Just because you've done it before doesn't make it easy the second time.
Probably makes it harder, just because mentally
Yeah, where you're about to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I agree with that.
With everything that you're doing, Ryan, I mean, you're doing a lot of good things, man. And yeah, I'm proud of you, brother.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to just set a good example for the people around me, my boys, my wife. My wife's actually doing 75. Grace is doing 75 hard right now too. She's on day like almost 30. She's done it, I think, completed it twice as well. But just trying to set a good example for the people around me, man, and just try to help them realize that like you can do it. Like it's what's holding you back. You're holding yourself back. That's it.
Sure.
You're the only one holding you back.
Love it, man. Good stuff. You have any final thoughts for the...
Dude, I will just say that I'm just feeling really blessed right now in so many ways. Blessed to have you as a friend and a faith mentor. I talk about you a lot.
Likewise.
Dude, I wouldn't be where I am right now, I don't think, without you in my life. And so coming on the podcast to me is it's like, it feels, I don't want to say it feels like an obligation, but it feels like a responsibility to me to be there for you and to help you grow something that you're doing. I also enjoy doing it too. I'm not just, I don't want that to come off the wrong way, but I'm here for you too, man. So I just want to say that in front of everybody.
Bro, the cool thing is, you're a mentor as well for me. Even though you're new to your faith, like to see your excitement and your passion is inspiring as well. So
I understand that.
Yeah. Even though you're the new kid on the block, you ain't lukewarm, so it's been really cool. And I definitely consider you one of my best friends, bro. And I'm glad you're in my corner. And
likewise.
Yeah, as far as the podcast go, you do have to come on this show a lot. So
well, I kind of loosely agreed to it from the get-go.
No, you've been a great guest.
I'm trying to keep up my
obligation.
My obligation, my word to you.
Commitment.
My commitment. And,
awesome.
We'll get another one on the books here, and I know you got an opportunity, I think, for a lot of other great guests coming up. I'd like to maybe try to get you a couple guys on here. Maybe Bryson wants to come on. Man, he's got a cool story.
I would love it. That's what's so cool. I was telling somebody, because my work podcast is harder to have guests, right? Just because it's very specific to trucking, you know, and JFW. And I mean, we've had state troopers on, we've had drivers' wives, we've had politicians, we've had, a nice selection of people. But man, for this show, all you have to do is you don't even have to be a believer. You just have to want to talk about God. If you want to talk about God and you do some cool stuff outside of, this room, you've qualified to be on this show.
It's good, man.
And then the material, I mean, the Bible is just full of so much. Like it's just what's God, how's God speaking to me this week? What do I feel that's on my heart? Picking out some scripture and going for it. So it's been cool.
Well, maybe some viewers want to maybe be, I guess, like speak up in the comments.
Joe Rogan, if you want to come on, just reach out.
I would definitely be here for that one. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, my final thoughts. This episode reminds us that life is more than possessions, wealth, or temporary victories. True treasure is found in Christ and being rich toward God. The gospel is not a soft word. It's a victory cry of Jesus, the true King. And while we wrestle with pain, suffering, and the reality of evil, we hold fast to the hope of the resurrection and the truth of God's love. Stay strong, stay prayerful, and keep God first always.
Amen.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on. Thanks
you.
for watching, everybody. Catch you next time.